So in continuation with our study about loops, let me give you another example of arrays. This example is regarding finding the biggest element in an array with the size n. As you know, size means the total number of elements in the array. Okay, so what I am going to do is, let me show you the program first. Okay, right. So in this example, I am going to use a repeat for loop. So what you are seeing is this is an array, which is name of the array is ar. So value of ar1 is 10, that of ar2 is 12, ar3 is 5, and so on. Now our purpose is to find the biggest element in this array. So how we will be applying the logic? We will be taking a variable with any name. I have taken the name biggest, and we will assign the value of the very first element into this variable biggest, right? And then we are going to start with the second element. We will keep comparing the elements, all the other elements, and whenever we find a bigger element, we will put it into the variable biggest. Logic is quite simple, you can see. So now the very first element, that is r1, will be put into biggest. So as per this example, the very first element is 10, its value has been put into biggest. Then repeat for c is equal to 2 to n. We are starting from the subscript 2 because we have already taken care of the first element with the subscript 1 and put it into variable biggest. Actually, biggest here is the variable which is supposed to contain the biggest value. So now the value of c is 2. What we are going to do is we are going to compare r2 with the value of the variable biggest. So for the very first time, it would be if r2 greater than biggest. Now what is r2? r2 is 12. What is the value of biggest? It is 10, which is nothing else but the value of the very first element that we have assigned to the variable biggest in the very beginning. So if r2 is greater than biggest, that means we are checking if value of 12 is greater than 10. Yes. Then what we will do is, because biggest variable is supposed to contain the biggest value, so we will assign the value of r2 into biggest. So now the value of biggest is 12. Okay. This is the comment that shows that this is end of if and this is end of loop. Control will go up and the value of c will be automatically incremented by 1. So value of c will become 3. Now it is comparing if r3 is greater than biggest. What is r3? r3 is 5. Now this condition is false because value of r3 is 5 and that of biggest is 12. So condition is false. So this statement will not be executed and control will again go up, and now the value of c will become 4. So it will compare if r4 is greater than biggest. What is r4? 200. And what is the current value of variable biggest? 12. So what will happen is, now this condition is true and value of r4, that is 200, will be put into biggest. Here you can see. So this loop will go on like this. So you can see it's a very simple logic. We will keep comparing the elements with the value of the biggest. Whenever the element happens to be the bigger than the value of the biggest, we will put it into the biggest. So it's very natural that ultimately when the loop will break, the value of biggest will contain the highest value. So once the whole array is traversed, the loop will be terminated, and control will go to step number 4, where we will be printing the value of biggest, and this is the end of the algorithm. So you can see like this is the same program, except that this is the same algorithm, and as you can see, it is having the same logic as the previous one, except for one difference. Instead of using repeat for loop, I am using repeat while loop. So it is the same, value of c being initialized with 2. Rest of the statements are exactly the same.